So with all the tensions in the world right now, Iran has made a pretty chilling threat that it could potentially shut down the world's internet. I know, it sounds like something out of a movie, but the threat is terrifyingly real. So today we're going to dig into the fragile physical lifeline that holds our entire digital world together.
No, I mean really, just stop for a second and try to picture that. No email, no Netflix, no online banking, no news scrolling, literally no connection to the outside world. What would that day actually feel like for you?
You know, we all just lived through the lockdowns, and for so many of us, the internet was everything. It's how we worked, it's how we saw our families, it's pretty much how we stayed sane. Now, imagine that exact same isolation, but this time, all the screens are dark. That's the scenario we really need to get our heads around.
So, you might be wondering, how could one country possibly threaten the entire globe's internet? Well, it's because the internet isn't some magical cloud. It's a very real, very physical network of underwater cables. And, it turns out, a huge chunk of that network is funneled through just a couple of alarmingly fragile spots.
Get this, a staggering 90% of all the data traffic between the Western world and Asia flows through just 2 tiny maritime corridors. That's the digital lifeblood for literally billions of people, all squeezed through 2 incredibly narrow bottlenecks.
And here they are, the Strait of Hormuz, right there off the coast of Iran, and the Bab el-Mandeb Strait near Yemen. These 2 narrow passages are basically the superhighways of the global internet.
And here's the part that makes this whole threat so real. These cables are shockingly easy to get to. The Strait of Hormuz is only about 200 feet deep. The Bab el-Mandeb, just 600 feet. I mean, that's nothing. It's easily within reach of combat divers, not to mention specialized submarines. They are just sitting there, completely exposed.
Okay, so this isn't just theory, right? Iran has the actual tools and the tactics to cut these connections. So let's take a look at exactly how they could do it.
Iran's own military has a whole menu of options for this exact job. They could lay naval mines. They could send in their mini submarines, which are perfect for shallow water. They could even use teams of combat divers or launch underwater drones to detonate right on top of the cables. And here's the kicker. They don't even have to do it themselves. Iran backs the Houthi rebels in Yemen, who are parked right at the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. The Houthis have already threatened to cut these cables, which gives Iran a perfect way to attack while claiming it had nothing to do with them. And if you think this is all just talk, well, it already happened. In February of this year, the Houthis attacked a ship, the Ruby Mar. And get this, as the ship was sinking, its anchor just dragged along the bottom of the sea, and in the process, it sliced right through 3 major internet cables. Just like that, an accident knocked out a quarter of the region's data traffic. It just goes to show you how unbelievably fragile these connections are.
Okay, so if one accidental anchor drop can cause that much chaos, just imagine what a planned, coordinated attack would do to the world economy.
The estimates start at a minimum of $10 billion every single day. The economic shockwaves would be absolutely massive, and they'd hit instantly. Just think about the financial markets for a second. Every day, trillions of dollars zip around the world on these networks. If that information suddenly stops flowing, the markets just freeze. Trades can't go through, and the entire system could face a catastrophic shock, way beyond that $10 billion a day figure.
To really bring this home, let's zoom in on just one country, India. A full 80% of its entire internet bandwidth comes through these very same cables in the Red Sea. Think about that. Its huge, booming digital economy is almost completely dependent on these few vulnerable lines.
The dominoes would start falling almost instantly. India's massive digital payment system, it could grind to a halt. Its $250 billion IT export industry would be crippled overnight. And for nearby countries like Ethiopia or Somalia, who rely on these cables even more, it could mean being cut off from the digital world entirely.
So when you put all of this together, we have to face a pretty uncomfortable truth about the very foundation of our modern world.
And here it is. We tend to think of the internet as this omnipresent, resilient cloud, right? Something that's everywhere and nowhere at the same time. But the hard reality is that its physical backbone is just a handful of fiber optic cables, most of them no thicker than a garden hose, just lying on the seafloor in some of the most contested and easily accessible waters on the planet.
And that really leaves us with this one huge question to think about. We've built our entire global society, our entire economy, on this incredible network. But by concentrating its most critical links in such vulnerable places, have we accidentally turned our greatest strength into our most profound weakness?